Kia ora, everyone. This is Chris, and I am bringing you my third video. I have been spending this week at St. John's College in Auckland, more or less in Auckland, getting ready for my trip. I'm actually headed back to the States for a week. And this week, I've had time for some meditation and some reflection and some worship and some time to just work on some of these videos. And so I wanted to show you another chunk of the trip from my pilgrimage that I actually took last week. The trip was very jam-packed, so I'm going to be creating several videos, and they'll just be kind of shorter ones, just so that there's something. So I'm only doing one day at a time because there was just a ton of information. So this isn't going to be a very long video today. And if you'll permit me, I will share my screen, and then you'll be able to see what I did last week. All right, thanks for your patience. I have just found this is just far easier. Okay, so off we go. So we took a pilgrimage, and so this would be my host, Jacynthia, and I went and we picked up three friends of Jacinthia's, Andrew and his wife, Susanna, and their friend, Shannon. They are all friends of Jacinthia's, and they work and manage the Peacemakers Retreat Center in Helensville. And so they came along with us. And so our first stop we made was in the Waipoua Kauri Forest. And you can just see some of it was very much like we were in a rainforest. It was just it was a very short walk. If anyone ever happens to come to New Zealand and drive to go here, this is like a 5-minute walk in and a 5-minute walk out. It's not long. But you'll see why people stop to take this on. It's a very windy road to get there. We all appreciated having a minute to just sort of stretch our legs and get over car sickness, really. But this is really why you go, is to see Tane Mahuta. And you can read a little bit about it, but this is, I believe, the oldest known kauri tree. And it is estimated to be as old as 2,000 years old. And there's some facts there about it, but it is a ginormous tree. It was really breathtaking to stand in the presence of this tree, known as the Lord of the Forest. The pictures don't do it justice. This larger picture here, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but this is the tree in the background. I mean, I can honestly tell you, I have personally never seen a tree this big. I've heard about the redwoods, and I hear that they're very impressive, and I've not seen them, so I can't speak to that, but this was a mammoth tree. And there's all kinds of Maori legend and myth behind it. And if you want to read the little sign here, then you're more than welcome to do so. But what was interesting, this is a pilgrimage, and a lot of this was to bring to all of us, honestly. Jacynthia was giving us a deeper Maori knowledge, and I think specifically because it's important for my project, she was helping me to understand the dynamic and relationship between the Maori and Christianity. And so it was just interesting to us on this walk that this is a tree that may have stood in the time of Christ. And so it's kind of weird to contemplate that, if you just think about that for a second. I don't know. It's just a weird concept to think that we can stand in something that was there when Jesus was there. And I know people go to the Holy Land for exactly that experience, but I didn't expect to encounter something that old when I went to Aotearoa. So I just wanted to put this up here. So like this is a picture of just Cynthia and I, and you can't really tell, but Tane Mahuta is in the background, and these are just more views as you walk through this little scenic walkway. But I wanted to show this at the bottom here. There was one of these I don't know, we'll call them stations as you came in and exited, and they're in other places as well. And I just love this. I have no idea if we have anything like this in the States. I've never seen it anywhere I've ever gone hiking. I've seen a lot of places that I've gone in Utah and in Maryland and even in Tennessee, where they encourage you to stay on the trail, that the ecosystem is very delicate. You don't want to go off the trail because you could be killing something and so forth and so on. So I have seen that. But this is a specific, you have to wash your shoes when you come in. And I will tell anyone who's coming to New Zealand, you have to, it's something you have to declare when you go through customs in New Zealand, is whether or not you're bringing hiking shoes. And as someone who's never done international travel, I found that fascinating. So this, you step on that green pedal, I guess, if you will, and you actually can hold on to the bars, so you can stand on one foot. Well, you push one foot down and water squirts up from the bottom and washes the bottom of your shoe. And then you can kind of almost prop yourself up a little bit on the handrails so that you can switch feet without putting your first foot down and wash them again and then step out. They've had a lot of problems over the years with tourists and just people relocating to the area, bringing all kinds of biology, basically, and I guess ecology on their footwear, and they've tracked in spores and seeds and things like that that have created weeds that have choked off indigenous plant life, and toxins that have killed off indigenous plant life or created toxic environments for their animals and critters and whatnot. And so it's a really big deal that they are trying to protect their natural ecosystem by having people wash. And I like the washing going in and the washing coming out, because just in case they don't want anything that was in that forest to come out either and potentially contaminate something somewhere else. So it's if we don't have anything like this in the US, I'm sure this is something that we may want to consider. I say we as though I have any kind of say in this, like I'm going to travel around to national parks and take up this cause. But nonetheless, someone may watch this who has any kind of an influence whatsoever on whether or not anything like this were to go into any of our national parks. But it may be something worth considering, because I think our ecosystem in general around the world just seems to be extremely fragile. And as we're having more and more, international travel, we're all just bringing all our crap everywhere. And maybe it would be great if we stopped doing that. Just thought. Anyway, this is a view of Hokiagna Harbor. We're going to talk about Hokiagna probably in the next video, is when I'm going to show some clips from Jacinthia about the significance of this. But I will just let you know, you can kind of see a break here in the water. There's a sandbar out there. And I will tell you that the sandbar used to destroy many a European ship that was trying to come through. And Samuel Marsden, who we will also hear more about later in these videos, actually, he had become friendly and very close with some of the Maori chiefs, and together they were able to finally navigate a path through the sandbars, because the Maori sailors knew how to get through them, but the European ships couldn't figure it out. And they were just creating a nice mess of boats at the bottom of the ocean there. So at any rate, they have figured out a path, but it was just very interesting. This is apparently very dangerous water, and not something for the faint-hearted. And I know some of the pictures, I didn't go through and edit the pictures because I don't have that kind of energy right now, but the haze was also sort of left on purpose, because this is just how the weather was. Like, it was sunny and raining at the same time. So you kind of get a sense of that in this picture, but just beautiful and lovely landscape. Very different, it being very, very green and lush here, and very just sort of sandy over here. And a lot of these dunes have been damaged just through erosion. Some of that is certainly due to tidal rising and things like that. But regardless, just the vast difference in the two coastlines, I just found really interesting. So we'll talk more about Hokiagna in our next video. This is just, it happens to be that we also stopped in Hokiagna for lunch. And so you're getting that. And so we stopped at lunch, and this is sort of, for all intents and purposes, kind of the view from where we stopped. But I just want to, like, these look like they would have been taken on two entirely different days, and I just kind of got a kick out of that. So it was just, we were in a weird spell of weather, and the weather literally changed like every 15 minutes. And so as we sat and had lunch, this might have been the picture on the left, what it looked like. And then after we ordered, but before our food got there, this is what it looked like on the right. And then it passed and it went back to the original. So it was very beautiful, but in very different ways. And then we spent our first evening at the St. Isaac's Retreat Center. And so these are just a couple of pictures that I took as we walked around the grounds. The St. Isaac's Retreat Center in the Northlands is, it's an Anglican supported community. And we met some lovely women there. Moranu is the caretaker of the property. And Sister Anne is there as well. And it is very Franciscan. It has a Saint Francis is kind of their patron saint, I think. But this is just sort of a view of the mountains and hills, if you will, that we had on the property. There's a chapel on the property where we did morning and evening prayer, and you can see a shot of the altar here. This picture in the lower left-hand side, as we walked around the property, they had a cyclone, not specifically just at St. Isaac's, but in New Zealand towards the end of last year. And I don't know that it was specifically from that, but there are, there's down lumber and trees and things like that. And so they were able to get some folks to help them move some boards together and create this outdoor. I don't know if you can actually see it in this little picture, but it's really kind of set up for outdoor worship. So these, if you can see my pointer, these are set up to be the pews, if you will, or benches, and this big stump here is set up to be like an altar. And I can't recall if Moranu said that they did Holy Thursday or Good Friday. They worshipped out here, and I just thought that was lovely. And I just included this because it was just a cool looking tree that just looks like a throne and kind of reminded me of Game of Thrones. And so I just thought I'd put that there and share that. And so that's it. That was day one. It was great and stimulating conversation. Milano and Jacinthia made a lovely meal for us. And everything. And we had wonderful, wonderful conversation that I'll be talking about the subjects of those conversations more when I see you. I will just say it was just a really beautiful and peaceful opportunity to just move from the Auckland area, the area we were in. So most folks, if you're flying to the North Island, are going to fly into Auckland, and to get up into the Northlands, into Hokiagna, was probably around 4 to 5 hours of drive time. If it's of any interest, I will say a few things that I've discovered is that the entirety of New Zealand would fit in Colorado. It's about the size of Colorado. So if you're trying to kind of estimate, I mean, it's spread in a different shape, obviously, but the landmass that's the size of it. About 5 million people, so considerably smaller than the US. I think we have 350 million people, so it's a very different environment. At any rate, that was kind of my first day of the pilgrimage. That all took place on my 4th day in the country. So I'm going to post another video, hopefully tomorrow or the next day, of more about Hokiagna that I think you'll find interesting. And I hope you all do have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for your support.